your immediate thought is that you're going to die and you're going to leave your kids without a mom. I mean, that is your immediate thought as a parent, I think, whenever you get a scary diagnosis like that. And you would think, well, as a parent, it's not your fault that you get cancer, but I think your initial feeling is that it is somehow your fault that you got cancer. I mean, that was really my thought, and that I was really going to be letting my kids down, and that it was going to be so hard on everyone, and how are we ever going to do it?
I was unraveling. I mean,
we have a plan for you, and they've got a plan to get me well. So.
But in the meantime, my life was shattered. Yeah. I mean, the thought of having 3 young kids, a husband that's sick, being not even 40, being left alone. I mean, all those fears just kind of unravel.
Both from people that we talk to and from the initial research that's going on in this area, if there's one thing that seems to be a very common theme, it's that it's important for parents to communicate with their children, and children feel much better loved and much safer and experience their home life as more stable and secure if conversations happen, if they're included in knowing what's going on. Nobody copes well when they're surprised. We are meeting them at a time when emotions run high. There's nothing more precious to people than their children, the well-being of their children. People are very worried about how to keep their children on track during the time when they're in treatment. We understand child mental health, and in that partnership between parent and PACT clinician, we are able to chart a course together that helps a parent to feel confident that they can keep their child on developmental track.
I think with the program, the consultations really reminded me that it's a process. It's not like one conversation explaining what's going on and then forget about it. It reminded me that every once in a while, when there was a quiet moment, or for some reason, or I thought maybe they had heard me talking to somebody, or something new was happening, that I would have to kind of sit down and check in with them.
I'm a teacher, so I know the development of kids, but also to know that kids need consistency, and like what I was doing at home to make them know that everything's going to be okay and they're going to be safe.
They also recommended that we specifically talk with the kids about how I got cancer, and to ask them how they thought that maybe I got cancer, just to get a sense for what they were thinking about, and that would never have occurred to me. And also to make sure to tell them that it wasn't something that they did that caused the cancer, and that they couldn't catch it.
Often they're worried about their parent dying, and one of the things we can do is to carve out safety zones to say, no one is worried about your mom or your dad dying in the next 2 months, 6 months, year. Right now, really everybody's focusing on trying to find a treatment that would keep the cancer tumor as small as possible. If anything changes, we'll let you know. It's outside. It's like
Right after he lost his arm, the girls were in Farm League, which is like a pre-Little League, and he was the assistant coach.
And then a child can enjoy the time that they have with their parent. Are they worry-free? Probably not, but we can't make them worry-free, but we can take them out of that high alert state of feeling that their parent could die at any moment. If that's not the case, and the vast, vast majority of the time, parents have some amount of time left, hopefully years and years, but sometimes months and months. And in order to enjoy months and months, you have to be able to live in the moment and not be so afraid.
My daughter asked me, and she was afraid to ask me, but she finally got the courage to ask me who was going to be her mommy when I died. Because she knew kids that didn't have a mommy, whose mommy had died. And she knew my mom was dead. And so we talked about it. And I think that's one instance where the PACT program was really helpful in preparing me, not for that specific question. I knew to answer who's going to take care of me. So of course I said, well, Dad would take care of you. And she was like, oh, no. I want to know who my mommy is going to be.
I think often when people hear what I do, the response is long faces, but if they could spend a week with me, they could have a sense of how much people appreciate a tweak here, a little encouragement there, some guidance to the side in order to enable them to continue to be the really good parents that they've been right along. This is very life-affirming work. It's about skill building. There's a lot of laughter that goes on during these conversations. No matter how sick someone is, my experience is when you sit down and begin to talk with them and you say to them, tell me about your children, their faces light up.
We have such a strong bond now that, I mean, I think a sickness, an illness can either separate you or make you stronger. We are so incredibly connected now.
I'd like to say that, cancer made me a really patient mother and that I appreciate every moment with my children. But frankly, I don't. I mean, I'm not patient at all. But I think I'm your typical kind of mom. I have good days and bad days, and I try to appreciate, this time with them. I really try not to think about my life as being possibly curtailed. I think it's more useful for me to just assume I'm going to live to be 100, very focused on having fun now with our kids and traveling and doing anything that we might ever imagine wanting to do with them. But that said, I'm not going to go to Disney World tomorrow.